let's jump in here to the stages of a cold call. And if you can get really comfortable with each of these stages with regards to your own specific sales process, picking up the phone isn't going to seem so scary anymore. So, Eric, can you run us through these and kind of how to approach each one?
Yeah, pre-research is kind of developing, and I'm going to use the buzzword business acumen for a lack of a better, developing an understanding of what you are selling, who you are as a seller, I think is probably something that I didn't learn up until far later in my career, who my ICP is and what they are. I guess more than just the title they bear or the project that they're overseeing or the position that they held. Like there's so much more to the understanding of like, what's our main objective here? And I guess service level pre-research could be as little as, having a quick cheat sheet in order so that way we can kind of have a quick pivot if in case they veer left, right, or in between. Introduction, right? And I think this is where many kind of go awry, or there's a lot of controversial conversation between what works better, PBO, steamroll, et cetera, et cetera. I look at this introduction as to what are we doing here? Right. Like this is where the first 10 to 30 seconds is where everybody loses conversation. It's the make or break phase. Everyone's worried about the CTA and having the perfect value prop when really the introduction needs to be just chef's kiss. So I look at it as how does it actually like project who you are, or are you able to kind of enable your strengths, capabilities, and yourself through the introduction?
Yeah,
The hook is the gotcha, right?
great.
And I'll stop real quick to let you interject, but yeah, I'm excited about that. But
Well, I just had one thought on the pre-research and then the introduction. So the pre-research, wanted to ask like, how can people get more familiar with their ICPs? Because I think that's a really big one here. I don't want to gloss over it. Knowing who you're calling and knowing what they care about. And then ideally at the end of pre-research, you want to have a reason for picking up the phone, not just because your manager told you had to hit 50 dials. Like, why am I picking up the phone to call Eric right now? So do you have any advice on really understanding that ICP and having a reason for calling?
yeah, have a conversation with them. I certainly, I'll take my own example. I never had a simple conversation with the ICP unless it was during a cold call with an objective. I never had a conversation open-ended with no pitch, no card at my sleeve, whatever that may be. I never had it like an honest conversation with them until I was kind of forced to adapt to that when we were, kind of in an early stage company together and we were kind of testing out different ICPs. I'm like, I don't know them to Joe. And then I took a different approach. I actually reached out to them. I was like, hey, no strings attached. Can I just have a 30-minute conversation to develop a better why of how of this and that? And of course, my caveat was like, I'll contribute a little to a charity of your choice. So it's obviously a what's in it for me. But that just blew my mind to show like I had no idea how they spoke, where the majority of their time was dealt with. It opened up so many avenues that I later used in my approach. But
Yep.
yeah, having that understanding was quintessential to me. If you don't have that ability or availability to do that, talk to your manager, talk to leadership, talk to people within your own organization that do a very similar role, and have that kind of conversation.